This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in Lafayette, Colorado. I'm here at the Acne Lab. Since 2012, they have provided strategic, effective, and a sustainable approach to treating acne. I'm here with Corinne, who is the skin specialist, founder. Thanks so much for joining us here today. Let's start off a little bit about yourself. You not only bring professional experience now to the table, but really personal experience. This began for you back when you were a high school senior. You sought out help, didn't really yield the results that you wanted. Share with me a little bit how this passion got started for you in this industry.
Well, that was a great summary, and it really is true that in my high school years into my early 20s, I had pretty devastating acne, and the resources are very similar then to what they are now in the medical model. It's a lot of harsh topical skincare prescriptions that are usually antibiotic or medicinally based. And it didn't give good results. Ultimately, it led to Accutane, and then Accutane worked for a while, but ultimately in my 30s, it came back again in terms of having acne present itself. And since then, there's been big changes in the industry to understand the science of skincare and the art form of applying the skincare to get it to work on a skin condition that is inherently not curable. It's highly treatable, but it is something that requires a relationship with your skin and not just the products.
All right, let's start off first of all, our skin. I mean, it's the largest organ on our body. It's there to protect us, but it's also the organ that everybody sees. And so, I mean, these skin issues or even acne is pretty common, but why are people so embarrassed when they have an issue like this?
Well, that's a really great question. It's only because as humans, we tend to notice contrast, and we can't help it. It doesn't even mean we're inherently judging somebody, but when somebody has some level of difference on whatever it is we can see, we tend to focus on it.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I think acne did look like it was a personal problem, like a hygiene issue. It's somehow your fault. And that does tend to become the way it feels when you do try things and they don't work, and you think, how else can I manage this? And yet I can't hide it from anybody either. So at the same time you're feeling discomfort, people are noticing the difference, and some people are a little judgmental about it and start to treat you a little differently. So,
which just adds to the whole problem to begin with. Let's start off by educating the viewers out there. Define what is acne. What is acne?
Acne is a dysfunctional hair follicle. It's highly influenced by hormones and stress and dietary changes and topical irritation, but it's a genetic disposition of the hair follicle to hyperexfoliate skin cells, retain and build up a sticky plug that ultimately traps bacteria, and then comes the infection that creates the pimple that you see. And ultimately, the non-curable quality of it is the dysfunction of the hair follicle. You can influence it, but you can't tell that hair follicle to behave the way you want it to. You can guide it to behave the way you want it to, though.
This affects millions of people out there, be it youth or adults, yet they say only 10% actually seek out help, which is kind of amazing. Those that do seek out help, the first step obviously is in educating them. There are two types of inflammation, if you will. Share with me a little bit more about acne on the two different types.
Okay, so there's inflamed acne and non-inflamed acne.
Okay.
They both start from that same dysfunctional behavior of the hair follicle. And for some clients, that buildup of that sticky skin starts to show itself in what we would call blackheads. Okay. Sometimes we call them little pearls. It's just a lot of texture on the skin, but not necessarily a lot of redness. And then there's inflamed acne, where that buildup happens all the same, but bacteria does get trapped there, creating an infection. So you've got two different types of acne as a result, and two very different treatment approaches for those two different types of acne.
Before we discuss some of your solutions you provide here, let's talk about the basically how that differs from the medicinal prescription approach, which not is always sustainable.
Well, skincare in this case isn't creating a cure, nor can a prescription of antibiotics. And so antibiotics are typically still an easy starting point for managing bacteria, and it's still the go-to for the medical model. And if you can't cure it with an antibiotic, it's it's an outdated modality of trying to solve a bacterial issue. So instead you want to approach it with more of a topical skincare approach that does address bacteria. It does try to prevent the skin's ability to build up that sticky skin. But systemically, you want to focus on more of a probiotic approach, or minimize the inflammatory responses within the body through better dietary choices, better lifestyle management, so that it's a long-term solution and not trying to fit a short-term solution.
So the bad news is there is no cure, but the good news is it's treatable. And so to really require a treatment that works, you've got to look at the big picture. We're talking about not just months, but maybe even over years. Share with me why that approach for you is something that has seen the best results.
These are really great questions. And the relationship with your skin, such as the relationship with your body, if you had long-term health issues, to just eat an apple one day isn't going to solve the issue that you might have. If you have diabetes, you can't just depend on the insulin, you have to make a lifestyle change. And although acne isn't life-threatening, it can be emotionally life-threatening, but it's not a life-threatening issue. Sometimes clients are still looking for that shortcut, which is just skincare, a few products, it should resolve right away. But we tend to really educate the client on this is the skin you've been given. There's no way to pretend otherwise. If you understand your obstacles, if you understand this is what you've been given, but you don't want this, then you have to have a long-term relationship with your skin, which does include skincare habits, appropriate skincare products, changing skincare products as skin adapts to them, understanding that you need to keep that relationship going if what you want is the long-term results.
So this definitely is not a one-size-fits-all approach. This is a very customized approach. Step one is really a consultation, educating them on what the options are, making them understand the reality of the situation. Step two is where you actually start putting a strategy into place. Tell me what happens during that stage.
So the consult is where it's complimentary for the client. We meet them, review a questionnaire where we get to understand where they've been, what they've been doing, their current habits, their current products. We give them $1 million view of the process in front of them, the obstacles acne will always have, whether they work with us or work with somebody else. And then we explain why we price it the way we do over the amount of time that we do. It's almost always 5 to 6 months. And during those 5 to 6 months, it's highly educational. It comes with full treatments for whatever area of the skin we're treating. So a facial would come with these appointments. We give them a skincare schedule, and then we follow up with support. And that support is complimentary between appointments. So the second step is to come in after having something called Skincare 101 being used for a couple weeks to establish better habits, better skincare products, and then it's one step at a time until they've got their skin under control.
That is interesting. So not only were we talking about different strategies for different people depending on their skin, but we're also talking maybe even the strategies themselves change for us because our skin changes. Is that something that really is ongoing?
Oh gosh, again, that's a really great question. And yes, so a young 12-year-old that comes in with virtually no habits, it starts with that, the relationship with the skin twice a day using appropriate skincare products. As their acne changes, typically from the way it shows up at 12 can show up a lot differently at 15 and 16. And if you're a woman, sometimes you have the skin type through your entire life, and different milestones of our chemistry as women and our lifestyle circumstances can change everything about what used to work to what doesn't work anymore and now needs to have a different approach. And it's usually skincare. Skincare has to be there if you have acne. But sometimes what worked a lot quicker and more effortlessly in your late teens now needs a little more finesse when you are in your 20s and 30s.
I mean, you're really teaching people how to care for their skin, understand their skin, have a relationship with their skin, like you say. You also say skin is adaptable. What are some of these products that are helping you assist people out there?
So what we call Skincare 101 is appropriate, gentle, Colorado-based skincare that cleans but doesn't deplete the skin, cleans and hydrates, protects the skin. And they follow certain rules of formulation that have to be observed if you have acne. You can't just use any old products. It doesn't mean they're inherently special. It doesn't mean you can't access them over the counter, but you really do need to be pretty selective of what you're using. But Skincare 101 is habits twice a day with gentle strategies of cleansing and protecting with moisture. And then come different types of products that allow for an antibacterial focus, that allow for an exfoliation focus at different strengths, different combinations, and that's where we customize it for clients based on the three of us in this room have very different skin. If we all had acne, I'm sure it'd be different types of acne, and we will all have our own skin's preferences, tolerances, and intolerances to skincare. So you kind of nudge each step forward based on what you've learned about the skin from the last step, how it's responding, how it reacts to certain products within a matter of either a couple minutes or even a couple of days, and then you adjust it again.
Pretty complex. I mean, as I listen to you talk about it, it's not a quick fix by any means, even though that's what marketing out there would want you to believe. I mean, this is about not only habits that you're changing on skincare, but really consistently changing these habits. Commitment has to be number one when it comes to results. As I say, patience is virtue, right?
Isn't that the truth? And that is a big conversation around here. Is I think what we do best for a lot of our clients that think they want to work with us and then end up working with us is we really try to manage expectations from the beginning. We're huge cheerleaders for clients, showing them progress when they might not see the progress themselves, and that ultimately they have chosen to work with us, but we will say that patience is one of the most significant investments that you make with acne. Is you have to be able to see the forest for the trees, and sometimes that's really hard to do. Every breakout is one breakout too many. It can feel like a big setback, but ultimately there's ways to see that the progress is happening, and at the end, almost every client we've had that gets to the end says it happened almost exactly when you said it would happen, and we're so glad we did it. In hindsight, it wasn't that burdensome. It feels it while you're in the process sometimes, because it is not instant. It does take time, and you have to decide you're going to have that relationship with your skin. And if you do, you get outstanding results. And if you constantly are hoping for the quick fix, we lose clients all the time because, they hit a 3 to 5 month mark and it's not exactly what they thought it would be. And now they're off looking for the next thing. And hopefully we've educated enough that they know the next steps have to have a certain formula to it for them to see that success rate.
So trust the professional, trust the process, and you've been there, you've seen it. They have to basically trust that as well. I mean, really everything you do here is customizable. Not only the products that you provide, but even all the way down to the makeup that women use every single day. Customized makeup, touch on that a little bit for me.
So the rules for acne is there at the minimum cannot have certain ingredients on our skin if we hope to achieve clear skin. And makeup is a huge game changer. Most of us women wear makeup to conceal what we can, and a lot of times we are using makeup that is a big compromise for acne. So you need to follow certain rules. And so what we provide is makeup that follows the rules, and then we custom blend it so it matches the client's skin and also maybe their preference for the concealment, in terms of mild, moderate, or highly concentrated makeup.
I mean, I know there's a big difference when it comes to tailored clothing versus what I get off the rack. Do your customers, your clients, do they notice the custom makeup versus what they're getting off the shelf?
Yes, 100%. So there are a few brands that we direct our clients to so that they know where their options are. For some clients, those brands fit their needs exactly. And then if and when they've chosen to come and have a custom makeup, they often, if not always, say what a huge difference it is, because it literally is for them like a second skin. It's their color match, their preference of the way the makeup looks on their skin. Some clients like it to look very dewy and fresh, helping the skin to look more moist. Other clients like it to look like makeup, more flat and more theatrical in a sense, because it's really doing a lot more to conceal. They like to do more drama with the makeup that they have. So you can make it specifically to what they want. And when you pick over the counter, if it just happens to be that look
Sure.
that you wanted, great. But if it's not, a custom blend is like the best of the best.
That is interesting. When someone's out there seeking really the safest makeup they can be using, especially for their treatment, I imagine it can get pretty confusing. I mean, there's marketing coming at you and everything. Is it important they understand what they're really looking for? And why is pure loose mineral really a must-have?
So pure loose minerals are literally just minerals. There's no fillers, there's no dyes, there's no talcs. The ingredient list is usually 5 ingredients and they're all minerals. And minerals basically sit on your skin like a roofing tile. They don't settle in to the nooks and crannies. And that for us means it's not an obstacle. It's not going to add or compromise the behavior of our hair follicles the way other makeup would, where it gets settled into the skin and has ingredients that might add to our hair follicles' behavior to build up like a stickiness. So there is no makeup that helps acne, but there is this type of makeup, a pure loose mineral, that is no obstacle for acne, and that is the best choice we can make. And it should be an indefinite choice forever. Once you have acne and you find makeup in the pure loose mineral category that works for you, I'm almost 50, you don't look back. You just use it over and over again.
So initially the custom blend takes place here with a consultation. You're customizing, be it foundation, highlighter, blush, pretty much anything what they need. Once they have that, can they basically just order from you, or is it done online? How does that work?
Great questions. So yes, once we have the recipe goes in the client file. They do a lot of independent ordering, especially with COVID. We do things differently where it's by appointment. Order what you need, we'll send it to you. You can come pick it up at a pickup box at our back door. But when you're ordering something like a custom blend, it in the website allows you to just reorder your custom blend, and then we on the back end look up the recipe and make it and fulfill it.
That's interesting. Obviously your specialty is that of acne, but honestly we all have skin. We all want to look good. As we start aging, we start realizing that I want to look good in front of the camera, any camera. Are you able to help others with just basic skincare, especially when it comes to anti-aging?
So yes, the real specialization we focus on is strategy with skincare over time. And that's how you'll make changes for any of your skin issues. You have to have the right products used in the right way over the right amount of time with, for some particular goals, complementary services that help to further those results. So for anti-aging, it started with us with the parents of our clients that would say, well, I'd like attention to my skincare. So we do focus on anti-aging, we just don't market ourselves in that way. So it has more evolved organically. We do have a big clientele base that are in their 30s and older with acne, so they don't want mutually exclusive skincare. They don't want just acne when their skin is more mature, and they aren't mutually exclusive. Acne skincare has a few key rules that anti-aging skincare might not need, but anti-aging skincare can still benefit from. And the anti-ager typically is tied to annual cycles of treatments that help to further the results of the daily skincare routine. So when we work with an anti-ager, we have about an hour and a half appointment. We do a treatment, we learn their skin, we give them advice to build on, and then we build an annual calendar based on their goals so they can see where their appointments would fit in on an annual cycle until it doesn't matter to them anymore. So anti-aging cannot be cured also. So you ultimately are trying to either preserve the skin that you have at the moment, you're trying to maybe improve the skin that you have at the moment and then try to preserve that change. But you're gonna continue to have that long-term relationship because aging continues. Aging marches forward. It's like, there's no one product that stops it in its tracks. There's no one treatment that stops it in its tracks.
And unlike marketing would have us believe out there, there is no miracle cream, there's no one magic bullet, but rather instead a toolbox, if you will, of products that you're able to provide for people. Are people pleasantly surprised when they get educated and realize, hey, this makes sense? Definitely.
The clients that love us appreciate that specific aspect of what we do almost more than anything else, because they will have tried lots of different approaches with over-the-counter, Pinterest, friend recommendations, multi-level marketing, dermatologists. And what they always say is it's like they've been given a little piece, and that piece is not really an understanding of how it all needs to fit together. And that is our specialty, is making sure that a client graduates from their time with us with that understanding of why it has to be the way it is, what the products are doing, what the rules are, and ultimately that helps them be more independent when they graduate from us.
Not only do they get clear skin, but they get a clear idea of what brought this about and how they can help it. I mean, acne has been around for centuries, be it with youth or adults. It's common, but yet at the same time, honestly, it's crushing. It's crushing for people out there. And to see people getting their confidence back, getting their life back, if you will, is that really what makes it rewarding for you?
100%. So sometimes clients come in and their first experiences with us are pretty vulnerable, and we've had more than a few clients being a little tearful on those first appointments. And honestly, we sort of get that tearfulness at the end because of that really weightlifting experience that does happen when they've got control over acne, when they feel so much more confident. I have a client that just jumped into my head, and when we first met her, she would come in with her head down and her hair sort of in her face, and she didn't really engage with us. And about 5 months later, my office manager and I were both like so taken aback by it. She opens up the door theatrically and jumps in, and we were like, hi, like we can't believe what we're seeing. She was such a different person, and for her that was the difference between feeling like she has to hide versus being open. And we've got testimonies all over the place that it really is weightlifting. It just relieves one less thing. It's one less thing to think about during the day. You can now just go about and exist without that pressure that you have to conceal or hide. Or
really exciting for you, not only as a professional, but also as a person, realizing that you've been there, you know what it feels like. That's exciting. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen. What you're going to see is their website. First of all, on the website, take a look at really the mission of this organization that began in 2012, really to make sure you're educated, not only about the issues of acne, but really on taking care of your skin, having a healthy relationship with your skin. You can set up a consultation right there online. Honestly, if you go to the website, you're not going to leave without being educated, if you will. But obviously come in, speak with a professional. If you're frustrated, you've gone through other basically treatments, you're maybe not getting the results you're looking for. Number one, be patient, but really more importantly, trust the professionals. Sit down. They have been there and they can walk you through the steps. Once again, that is the Acne Lab, really your go-to professionals for acne treatment and skin repair. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.